Hello everybody and welcome back to my channel. So today I'm going to be sharing with you how I made my daughter's bouquet. As you guys know, she turned 15 this year and I really wanted to make something special for her. So we're going to start off by grabbing a card. Any card will work. This is what we're going to use for the length of our petals. You're going to line up the end of the ribbon to the end of the card, and then you will start wrapping the ribbon around the card. You can wrap this as many times as you want. One thing I do recommend though is don't do it too thick, because when it's time to cut the ribbon, then it's a little too hard and it doesn't cut right. So I would definitely recommend, doing a very small, not too thick, a thinner wrap around. So once we are done wrapping our ribbon around the card, we're going to easily take out the card from the center, and then just make sure everything is nice and even, and then we will cut both ends. So once our petals are all nice and cut, we're going to go ahead and move on to the next step. What I notice is most people like to go ahead and light up each of the sides of this ribbon. I decided to not do that and skip that part. I'll show you a little bit later why. So instead, what I did is I went ahead and started forming my petals instead. You're going to put a little dab of glue on each corner, and then you will flip the flap inward, creating a triangle. You're not going to make a pointy triangle though. As you can see, it's kind of flat on the top. This is what's going to create our petal a little bit later on. So once we are done forming all of our triangles, we will now move on to the next step, and we're going to put a little bit of hot glue in the center part of our petal, and then we're going to bring the corners inward. This is going to form a more petal-like shape, which is going to help us later when we are making our roses. So now that we're all done with, making our petals, this is when I went in and lit up, each of the sides and burnt the ends and took up all the fringe and stuff that was coming up. This made it a lot quicker because we now have both sides glued down. I noticed when I tried to burn the sides the first time, while I was maneuvering all the petals and forming the shapes, the fringe would come back. So I saw it was like a waste of time trying to burn it. So instead, I formed all of my petals, and as you can see here, burn, 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 quicker, got both sides, and it was done. Alright, so now we are going to form our row of petals. So what you're going to do is make sure you keep this part right here that I'm showing you on the outside, and this right here is the inside, okay? So we're going to put a line of glue down the edge, and then we're going to grab another petal and glue it right on top, and then do it again on the edge, grab a petal and put it right on top. Make sure all of your petals are facing the same direction. So once we are done forming our line of petals, we're going to go ahead and start forming our rose. On your first petal, you're going to put an L-shaped line for your glue. This is going to be the center part of your rose. So you're going to grab your stick, which is your stem, and we're going to glue it on the corner. And then I like to twist this part really, really tightly. For the rest of the rose though, I let it guide itself and form itself. So I have a quick tip for you guys. When you run out of glue in the middle of your project, just warm up the tip and then put it in. This is going to prevent the glue stick from falling out while you're working on the project. I used to have my glue sticks fall out all the time, and once I started doing this, I've had no trouble with the stick falling out while I'm working on my project. A fun fact for you guys, the more petals that you put on this row, the bigger the rose will get. However, I ended up using 15 petals to get a good size rose. I also discovered if I use an even amount of petals, it would turn into a more boxier looking rose, and that's not what you want. So try to stick with like an odd amount. For some reason, it looks a lot better than an even amount. Like I said, everybody, just let the rose do its thing and just guide it onto the glue without twisting it too much, but definitely enough where it actually sticks on, the petal or the roses. But once we've done that, we have our rose complete, and after, a few days, I have a few flowers. I actually ended up making 30 roses for my daughter, and that made a pretty nice size bouquet. For the paper that I will be using, I did order off Amazon. It came as a pack when I ordered it. It came with the paper, it came with ribbon, black ribbon, and then it also had already little butterflies inside for me to use. I actually didn't use the ribbon because I just felt like it clashed with the black on black. So instead I ended up using a different color for the exterior ribbon. I'm going to be honest with you guys, I had no idea how to fold this paper. Mind you, this is actually my first bouquet that I have ever made, and I really tried to figure out how in the world I was going to wrap this bouquet and make it look like all the other ones I've seen online. So what I ended up doing is folding the paper not in half, but like in a very odd triangle form, and then I just ended up gluing the side so it would stay in this shape right here. So now it was time for me to form my bouquet. So what I did is I put my roses upside down, and then I started putting roses just around each other. As the rose bouquet was getting thicker, I would add on a piece of clear tape to the top so it wouldn't move. So once my bouquet was like I kind of wanted it, semi, shaped, I still played with it a little bit after I made it just to make sure all the roses were where I wanted them. I needed to add the bottom part. This is the part where the person will hold it and you need it to be sturdy. So what I did is I grabbed a piece of the inner part of your toilet paper or your toilet roll, that cardboard piece, because it's already round, so you just cut it and then you're able to just wrap it around the bottom part of the bouquet, making it a little bit sturdier for when you are moving it and grabbing it. So once we had our bouquet, the bottom piece on, it was time to start wrapping it with the paper. What I did is I laid my bouquet on top and then I measured the tip to the length of where your hand is going to be holding it, because we're actually going to use a whole separate piece to form the bottom part of your bouquet. So with this being my first bouquet, it did take me a few trial and errors to try to get the paper to wrap around the bouquet a certain way or a certain look that I was wanting. It just takes a lot of playing around with the paper and then gluing it in place so it doesn't move. I'm going to apologize to you guys. I actually lost the film for me wrapping the bottom part, but for the bottom, all I did was just cut a piece of the paper to the measurement of the bottom and just wrap it around like a burrito. That's all I did. And to hide, where the both ends meet on the center part right there, where you have to cut off the paper to wrap around the bottom, this is where you're going to put your lace. This is where I said I didn't like the black lace because it was just too, there was no contrast, let's say. So instead I decided to put some of the red ribbon that I had left over from her bouquet instead. And by doing that, you cannot see where the paper ends and where the paper starts for the bouquet. And then with my other extra ribbon, I decided to make, the nice pretty bow that would go down at the bottom. After a lot of moving the bow around, I finally decided where I wanted it and I glued it down. And then I just took my scissors to cut, the edges to give that little corner, on the bow. So it looks, nice. And then I just went in with my lighter and burned the sides so it wouldn't fringe and all that later. So because it is my daughter's quince, I decided to order a crown for the top of the bouquet. I felt like this was going to be the extra pop and for her bouquet. To my surprise though, I don't know why I thought this was going to be a plastic crown. It wasn't. It actually was a metal crown, so she was a little heavy, but she was sturdy, very beautiful. If I can find the link on where I ordered this on Amazon, I will put that down below for you. It was like $8, and I could have asked for a better crown for the bouquet. And as you guys know, with the paper we did have the butterflies, so I went in and I put the butterflies in as well. And then I had purchased some diamonds that I thought I was going to put on every rose. Well, spoiler alert, I didn't do that. I ended up actually just sparsely putting them around for a more delicate effect. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. I love how the bouquet turned out. It's so beautiful and delicate. My daughter really loved it when she saw it. I'm super proud of myself for trying something new and getting out of my comfort zone, and it just turned out super great. I hope you guys enjoyed the video, and I will see you guys in our next weekly vlog. Y'all guys have a wonderful day.